There are winters on the Wyoming plains that make a man think God has forgotten him. The winter of 1882 was one of those. I was 57 years old then, had lived long enough to stop fearing death. Truth be told, there were times I waited for it, until the snow brought me something else. The last stretch of daylight lay weak across the frozen land, a pale band of fading gold slipping behind the line of dark pines as I made my way along the narrow path toward the far fence line. December had come hard that year, bringing snow and thick waves that buried the grasslands and turned the world into something silent and white and hostile. I kept a quiet, steady pace, the kind of walk a man uses when nothing urgent waits for him. My name is Thomas Brennan. Folks who knew me called me Tom. Not many folks left who did. For 6 years, I had lived alone on this 160 acres, tending my small herd, mending my fences, working each day with a calm routine that kept my mind from drifting into memories I didn't want. Catherine had been gone 6 winters now, lost to consumption in a spring that should have brought life but brought only death. We had no children, just each other. And when she died, the light went out of this place, out of me. The cabin I kept wasn't meant for comfort. It was meant for survival. A place where no one knew me well enough to ask questions, where I didn't have to explain why I kept myself apart from the world. My breath came out in slow white clouds. The cold pressed into everything. The fence rails, the frozen ground, the rifle slung across my back. A Winchester, 30 years old, cleaned and oiled every Sunday without fail. Some habits a man doesn't break. I was checking the northwest corner where the wind always found the weak spots when I saw them. Tracks in the snow, small, uneven, not from any animal I knew. I stopped walking. The tracks wandered slightly, as if whoever made them had stumbled more than walked. Short steps, desperate steps. And then I saw the blood. Not much, just small dark spots against the white, but enough to know someone was hurt. Someone was dying out here. 57 years on this land had taught me one thing above all others. Never get involved in another person's trouble. Catherine was gone. The ranch was just me and Sam now, and that boy was trouble enough on his own. But those small tracks, that blood in the snow, someone was freezing to death while I stood there thinking about it. I followed the trail. My hand went to the knife at my belt, though I didn't draw it. Didn't want to frighten whoever it was if they were still alive. If they could still be frightened. The tracks led me 200 yards through the pines. The snow was deeper here, untouched by wind. Each step broke through the crust with a soft crunch that echoed in the silence. And then I saw her. She was curled against the base of a massive pine, half buried in snow that had drifted against the trunk. At first I thought she was dead. Then I saw her chest move, barely, a shallow rise and fall that might stop any moment. I approached slowly, carefully. She was young, Apache from the beadwork on what remained of her dress. Maybe 23, 24 years old. Her hair was long and black, frozen in thick strands that stuck to her face and neck. Her lips were blue. Her skin had that gray tint that comes just before the cold takes everything. The dress she wore was torn, ripped across the ribs and thigh, the beaded fringe frozen stiff. Her feet were bare, the skin purple and swollen. Around her wrists I could see marks, deep marks where rope had cut into flesh. Someone had tied her, bound her, and she had broken free. Her eyes fluttered open as I knelt beside her. For a moment they couldn't focus. Then they found my face and something like terror flashed through them. She tried to move, tried to pull away, but her body wouldn't respond. Too cold, too weak. Her lips moved. I leaned closer to hear. "One night," she whispered. The words came out in broken English, thin and strained. "Just need one night, then I go." I felt something shift in Tuiadhimitri, that old instinct I thought I'd buried with Catherine, the need to help, the need to do something that mattered. I had spent 6 years trying not to care about anything or anyone, trying to let the world move on without me. But looking at this girl, this broken, freezing girl, I knew I couldn't walk away. "You're freezing," I said quietly, more to myself than to her. When I put my arms under her to lift her, I felt her muscles tense. Even through the cold, even half dead, she was afraid. Afraid of me, afraid of what I might do. I'm just getting you out of the snow, I said, low, steady. Nothing else. She didn't resist after that, didn't have the strength. Her head rested against my chest and I could feel how light she was. Starvation had taken almost as much from her as the cold. I carried her back toward the ranch house. My boots crunched against the packed snow. The wind picked up, pushing at us, as if the land itself wanted her dead. But I held on, held tight, and I walked. The cabin appeared through the pines like a dark shape against the white world. Smoke rose from the chimney. Sam had kept the fire going at least. That was something. I kicked the door open and carried her inside. The warmth hit us like a wall. She made a small sound. Not quite a moan, just an acknowledgement that she was still alive enough to feel the difference between cold and heat. Sam was sitting at the table, 16 years old, tall and gangly, all elbows and attitude. My brother's boy, orphaned 2 years back when a logging accident took his father. I had taken him in because there was no one else. Because family meant something even when you didn't want it to. He was cleaning a pistol when I came in, a Colt revolver I hadn't given him permission to touch. His hands stopped moving when he saw what I was carrying. "What are you doing?" He stood up fast, the chair scraping against the floor. "You brought an Apache into our house?" I didn't answer, just carried her to the long bench near the fireplace and laid her down as gently as I could. She was shivering now. That was good. Shivering meant her body was still fighting. "Go get blankets," I said. "But she's Apache. They're the ones who—" I turned to face him. "Your grandfather died of pneumonia, Sam, not from Apache, and this girl didn't kill anyone. Now get the blankets or sleep in the barn." He stood there a moment, jaw tight, eyes hot with something like betrayal. But he went, came back with 2 wool blankets from the bedroom and threw them on the bench. Stood in the corner after that, watching with his arms crossed, suspicious, angry. I ignored him, focused on the girl, on Najoni, though I didn't know her name yet. I built up the fire first, added 3 logs to the stove and opened the damper wide. The heat filled the room, pushing back the cold that had followed us in. Then I went to work on her. The kettle on the stove was already warm. I poured water into a basin and grabbed the cleanest cloth I could find. Started with her hands. They were locked into claws from the cold. I dipped the cloth in warm water and wrapped it around her fingers. Not hot. Hot, too fast would do more damage. Just warm. Just enough to bring feeling back slowly. Her feet were worse. The toes on her left foot had gone white. Frostbite. I had seen it before. Sometimes you saved the toes. Sometimes you didn't. I wrapped them in warm cloth and elevated her leg on a folded blanket. Did what I could. The marks on her wrist told a story I didn't want to read. Rope burns, deep enough that the skin was raw and infected. Someone had tied her tight, kept her tied for a long time. I cleaned the wounds with whiskey from the cupboard. She flinched when it touched the raw flesh, but didn't cry out. Her ribs were bruised, dark purple spreading across her left side. I pressed gently, checking for breaks. She gasped. I stopped. "Bruised," I said to no one in particular. "Not broken." I covered her with both blankets, tucked them around her like Catherine used to do for me when I came in from winter work. The girl's shivering started to slow. Her breathing deepened. She was falling asleep. That was good. Sleep was the body's way of healing. Sam spoke from his corner. "Why are you doing this?" I looked at him, really looked at him. He was 16, thought he knew the world, thought he understood how things worked. But he was just a boy playing at being a man. "Because leaving her in the snow wasn't something I could live with," I said. "But she's a person," I cut him off. "Just a person who needed help." I poured 2 cups of coffee. Black, strong, the way Sam and I both took it, handed him one and sat down at the table. The girl slept on the bench. The fire crackled. Outside, the wind picked up, rattling the shutters. "What if someone comes looking for her?" Sam asked. His voice was quieter now, less angry, more afraid. "Then they'll have to deal with me." We sat in silence after that, drank our coffee. Sam kept glancing at the girl like she might wake up and attack us. I kept my rifle close, not because I was afraid of her, because I was afraid of whoever had done this to her. Around midnight, Sam went upstairs to his room. I heard the door close. Not slammed, just closed. He was thinking. Good. Thinking was better than yelling. I stayed downstairs, pulled my chair close to the window where I could see outside. The snow had started again, thick flakes falling steady and silent, covering the tracks we had made, covering everything. The girl stirred in her sleep, made a small sound. I turned to look at her. Her face was twisted with pain or fear or both. Dreaming, nightmares probably. I didn't wake her. Sometimes you had to let a person fight their demons on their own. I must have dozed off sitting there because I woke to the sound of horses. Distant, muffled by snow, but definitely horses. I stood fast, grabbed the rifle, moved to the window, looked out into the darkness. Nothing. Just snow and wind and night. But I had heard something. Spent too many years listening to the land to doubt my ears now. They were out there. Whoever had heard her, whoever she was running from. They were searching, getting closer. I checked the rifle. 15 rounds in the magazine. 2 more boxes of ammunition in the cupboard. The Colt revolvers were cleaned and loaded. 6 rounds in each. Knives were sharp. The cabin was as ready as it could be. But was I ready? 57 years old, alone except for a 16-year-old boy and a half-frozen girl, against men who did this kind of damage to people, against men who wouldn't stop until they got what they wanted. I looked at the girl sleeping by the fire. She had clutched something to her chest while she slept, a small leather pouch on a cord around her neck. Whatever she was protecting, whatever she had run with, it was in that pouch, and men were willing to kill for it. I sat back down, kept the rifle across my lap, listened to the wind and the fire and the soft breathing of someone I had chosen to protect. Dawn came slow and gray. The snow had stopped, but the sky stayed heavy with the promise of more. I made coffee, strong enough to strip paint. The smell of it filled the cabin. The girl woke when I set the pot down. Her eyes opened slow, unfocused at first, then sharp with fear when she realized where she was. She tried to sit up, gasped at the pain in her ribs and fell back. "Don't move fast," I said, kept my voice level, unthreatening. "You're hurt pretty bad." She looked at me, really looked at me, studying my face like she was trying to decide if I was dangerous. "I need to go," she said. Her English was better than I expected. Accented but clear. "Go out in that snow. You'll be dead in an hour. Stay until you're stronger. They will find me. They will kill you. Let me worry about that. You drink some coffee." I poured a cup and brought it to her, set it on the floor near the bench where she could reach it. Didn't hand it to her directly. Didn't want to crowd her. She watched my hands the whole time, looking for weapons, looking for threats. She took the cup with both hands. They shook, but she managed, sipped slow. The heat seemed to wake something in her. She looked around the cabin, at the simple furniture, the picture on the wall of Catherine, the rifles, the books on the shelf. "Where am I?" she asked. "My ranch, about 15 miles northwest of Elkhorn Station. You're in Wyoming territory." She nodded slowly, processing. "How long was I in the snow? Don't know. Found you last evening. Been here about 12 hours. Sam came down the stairs then, moved quiet like he was hoping not to wake her. Stopped when he saw she was already awake. "This is Sam," I said, "my nephew." "Sam, what's your name?" She hesitated, like giving her name would give me power over her. Then quietly, "Najoni." Sam nodded, didn't say anything, just went to the stove and started making breakfast. Bacon and cornmeal mush. Simple food, the kind you could cook without thinking. "Sam's going to town to fetch the doctor," I said. "I don't need a doctor." "You need a doctor." "I have no money." "Didn't ask for any." She looked at me again, that same searching look, trying to understand why a white man would help an Apache woman, trying to find the trap. "I will leave as soon as I can walk," she said. "You'll leave when you're healed." "Not before." Sam set plates on the table, 3 of them. One for me, one for him, one for her. It was a small thing, but it meant he was starting to see her as a person. Not just an Apache, not just a problem. I helped Najoni sit up, slow, careful of her ribs, got her to the table. She could barely walk. Each step was pain, but she was stubborn, proud, wouldn't let me carry her. We ate in silence. Sam kept glancing at her. She kept her eyes down, ate slow, like someone who wasn't used to having enough food. After breakfast, Sam put on his coat and hat. "I'll be back by evening," he said. "Dr. Anderson usually makes house calls on Wednesdays. Tell him I need him today. Offer him whatever he wants." Sam nodded and left. The door closed behind him, and suddenly the cabin felt smaller. Just me and this girl, this stranger I had pulled from the snow. She looked at me across the table. "Why do you help me?" "Because someone needed to. But you don't know me. Don't need to know you were dying." She was quiet for a long time. Then she reached up and took the small leather pouch from around her neck, opened it, poured something onto the table. A compass, made of gold, heavy, the size of a pocket watch. On one side, the needle pointed north under a crystal face. On the other side, carved into the metal, was a map. I picked it up, examined it close. The map showed mountains, rivers, valleys, and in the center, a clear X mark. Along the edge were words engraved small. "Colorado, 1879. "They made me carry this," she said. Her voice was flat, emotionless, like she had told this story before and felt nothing anymore. "The man with the scar on his face. He said if I lost it, he would kill me." I turned the compass in my hands. The gold was real. The craftsmanship was fine. This wasn't some cheap trinket. This was valuable. And the map carved into it led to something even more valuable. "This is a treasure map," I said. "Gold," she confirmed. "They stole it from a train in Colorado, hid it in the mountains. This shows where." I set the compass down between us. "Why give it to you to carry?" "So no one would find it on them. If law came, if someone searched them, they had nothing. Just a girl. Who would search a girl?" "Smart, cruel, but smart." "The man with the scar," I said slowly. "Does he have a name?" She nodded. "McKenna. William McKenna. Do you know him?" The room went cold. Not from the winter outside, from the past rushing back. William McKenna. Will, my friend, my brother in arms. 20 years ago, we had fought together in the Apache Wars. He saved my life at Little Canyon. I carried him 3 miles back to camp when he took a bullet in the leg. We were closer than blood. But Will changed after the war, became sheriff of Elkhorn County, started taking bribes, started looking the other way when powerful men broke the law. His wife left him, took their 2 children. Last I heard, 10 years back, Will had disappeared. I thought he was dead, hoped he was dead, because the alternative was worse. Now I knew. He wasn't dead. He was this, a man who would hurt a girl, who would trade in human misery for gold. "I know him," I said. My voice came out harder than I meant. "Knew him, long time ago." Najoni watched my face. "He will come for me, for this." She touched the compass. "He does not give up." "How many men does he have?" 8, maybe more now. He is their leader. They listen to him. 8 men, maybe more. Against me, a 16-year-old boy and a girl who could barely walk. The numbers weren't good. "Tell me what happened," I said, "from the beginning." She took a breath, winced at the pain in her ribs. Then she started talking. Her village had been attacked 18 months ago, not by soldiers, by raiders. White men on horses who came at dawn. They burned the shelters, killed the men who fought back, killed her mother who tried to protect her younger sister, killed her sister who was only 12 years old. Najoni had been gathering herbs with them when it happened. She heard the gunfire, ran back, saw the smoke, saw the bodies. She ran, but they chased her, caught her. The man with the scar, McKenna, he looked at her and smiled. Said she was worth something. Said she was lucky. They took her, sold her to a mining camp first, then to a ranch, then to another camp. She lost count of how many places, how many men, how much pain. 6 weeks ago, McKenna bought her back, said he had a job for her, made her memorize the map first, then put it on the compass, made her carry it, told her if she lost it, he would cut her throat. I carried it for 6 weeks, she said. Her voice was steady, but her hands shook. Waited for a chance. 3 days ago, they moved camp. Moved north toward Montana. I ran, took the compass, ran until I could not run anymore. She looked at me with eyes that had seen too much. And then you found me. I was quiet for a long time. The fire crackled. Outside, a crow called, sharp and harsh in the cold air. You're safe here, I said finally. McKenna comes, he'll have to go through me first. He was your friend. That was a different man. The Will McKenna I knew died somewhere. This thing he became, that's not my friend. She nodded, understood. What will you do? What needs doing? Keep you safe, keep this place standing. And when he comes, because he will come, I'll make sure he knows he made a mistake. The afternoon passed slow. I showed Najoni how to handle a pistol, took her outside, though she could barely stand, set up tin cans on the fence rail. Hold it like this, I said. Showed her the grip. Aim down the barrel. Don't jerk the trigger. Squeeze gentle. She took the gun. It was heavy in her hands, but she held it steady. Fired. Missed. Fired again. Missed. Third time, she clipped the can, knocked it spinning. Good, and I said, you learn fast. I had to, she said. Learning fast keeps you alive. We went back inside when the cold got too sharp. I made coffee. She sat by the fire. We didn't talk much, didn't need to. Sometimes silence says more than words. Late afternoon, I heard the wagon. Went to the window and saw Sam coming up the road with Doc Anderson beside him. The doctor was 60 years old, white-haired, with hands that still worked steady despite the arthritis. I let them in. Doc set his bag on the table and went to Najoni. She tensed when he approached, but didn't pull away. May I examine you, miss? He asked. Polite, respectful. She nodded. He checked her ribs first, pressed gentle. She gasped. Cracked, not broken, he said. Painful, but they'll heal. Keep them wrapped tight. Her wrists next. These are infected. I'll clean them and rebandage. You'll need to change the dressing every day. Keep them dry. He checked her feet last, pulled off the makeshift bandages I had put on, looked at the toes, pressed on them. You'll keep them, he said. But it was close. Another few hours and I'd be cutting. When he finished, he washed his hands in the basin and came to where I stood by the window. Tom, he said quietly, that girl's been through hell. The bruises on her body, they're not just from falling. Someone hurt her. Hurt her bad. I know. Whoever did it will come looking. I know that too. You need help? I can talk to the sheriff in town. Get some deputies out here. I almost laughed. Almost told him the man coming was a former sheriff himself. Instead, I just shook my head. This stays between us, Doc. No law. I'll handle it. He looked at me hard. You're one man, Tom. You and that boy. Against how many? However many come. He sighed, picked up his bag. I did what I could. She needs rest. 2 weeks at least before she should be moving around much. And Tom, be careful. Some fights aren't worth dying for. This one is, I said. After he left, after Sam had gone to bed, after Najoni had fallen asleep on the bench by the fire, I sat at the window and watched the night. The stars came out cold and bright, the kind of stars you only see in deep winter when the air is frozen clear. I thought about Will McKenna, about the man he used to be, about the man he was now. 20 years ago, we had bled together. Now we would bleed against each other. That's what time did to people, changed them, twisted them, turned brothers into enemies. But I had made my choice, had made it the moment I picked that girl up from the snow. Some things you don't walk away from. Some things define what kind of man you are. This was one of those things. Around midnight, I saw them. Fires on the ridge. Small points of light 2 miles distant. 5 fires. Maybe 6, which meant 10 men at least. Maybe 12. All camped up there watching my ranch. Watching for movement. Planning their approach. I counted the rounds in my rifle again. Checked the pistols. Made sure the knives were sharp. Sam was a decent shot despite his age. Najoni was learning fast. But even with all of us, the odds weren't good. The fire in the stove had burned down to coals. I added another log. The wood caught, flames licking up the sides. I sat back down in my chair. Dawn would come soon, and with it, Will McKenna, my old friend, my new enemy, the man who had saved my life once and now wanted to end it. I looked at Najoni sleeping peaceful by the fire, at the compass sitting on the table beside her, at the rifle across my knees. 57 years old. I had thought my life was over, thought the best parts had died with Catherine. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe there was still something worth fighting for, someone worth protecting. The wind picked up outside, snow began to fall again, and I sat in the darkness waiting for morning, waiting for whatever came with it, because I was Thomas Brennan, and I had chosen my ground. Dawn broke gray and reluctant over the frozen land, the kind of morning that holds no promise of warmth or mercy. I had not slept, had sat through the night watching those distant fires on the ridge, counting men I could not see, preparing for a fight I did not want, but would not avoid. The fires were gone now, extinguished before first light. That told me something. McKenna was moving, getting closer. Men who put out their fires at dawn are men getting ready to attack. Sam came down the stairs early, found me still sitting by the window with the rifle across my lap. He looked older in the morning light. The boy was fading, leaving something harder behind. "You didn't sleep," he said. "Couldn't. They out there?" They were, on the ridge. Now they're moving. He went to the stove, started coffee without being asked. That was new. A week ago, he would have waited for me to do it. Maybe he was learning. Maybe fear teaches faster than patience. Najoni woke when the coffee smell filled the cabin. She sat up slow, testing her ribs. The pain was still there, but she breathed through it, getting stronger. That was good. We would need her strength before this was over. "How far away are they?" she asked. No good morning, no pretense, just a question that mattered. "We're 2 miles out last night. Could be a mile now, maybe less." She stood, walked to the window despite the pain, looked out at the white landscape, the dark line of pines, the empty ridge. "He will try to talk first," she said. "McKenna always talks before he kills. He likes to make people afraid." "I'm not afraid of Will McKenna." "You should be. He is not the man you knew." I poured 3 cups of coffee. We drank standing up, like soldiers before battle. The silence between us was not uncomfortable. It was the silence of people who understand what is coming and have accepted. "And by Sam," I said, "you know how to use the Winchester?" "You never let me." "I'm letting you now. 15 rounds in the magazine. You shoot center mass, don't aim for the head. Too small a target. You aim for the chest and you squeeze the trigger gentle. Understand?" He nodded, took the rifle when I handed it to him, held it like it meant something, like it was a responsibility, not a toy. "Najoni, you remember what I showed you yesterday?" She touched the pistol I had given her, tucked into her belt. "I remember." "Good, now listen, both of you. When they come, and they will come, you don't try to be heroes. You do what I say. You stay low, you stay calm, and if I tell you to run, you run. Clear?" They both nodded. "One more thing, McKenna was my friend once, that doesn't matter now. When he comes through that door, he's just another man trying to kill us. You remember that?" The morning dragged on. We ate breakfast but tasted nothing. Najoni helped Sam reinforce the shutters with extra planks. I checked every gun, every knife, every piece of ammunition. Made sure we had water. Made sure we had bandages. Made sure we were as ready as we could be. Around 10 o'clock, I saw the rider. Just one man, coming down from the ridge at a walk. White horse, dark coat, hat pulled low. He stopped 50 yards from the cabin. Sat there on that horse like he had all the time in the world. I recognized him even at that distance. The way he sat, the way he held his shoulders. Will McKenna, my brother, my enemy. "Stay inside," I told Sam and Najoni. "Don't come out no matter what you hear." I stepped out onto the porch. The cold hit me like a fist, but I didn't button my coat. Wanted my gun hand-free. The Colt was heavy on my hip, loaded, ready. Will nudged his horse closer. 20 yards now, close enough to see his face. The scar ran from his left temple down to his jaw. A jagged line of ruined flesh from some fight I had not been part of. He was older, harder. The eyes that used to laugh had gone cold. "Tom Brennan," he called out. His voice carried clear in the frozen air. "Been a long time, old friend." "We're not friends, Will, and you're not welcome here." He smiled, not a happy smile, the kind of smile a wolf makes before it bites. "That's a hell of a greeting, after all we've been through." What we went through was 20 years ago. You made your choices since then. And you made yours, living out here alone, playing at being a hermit. He looked at the cabin, at the smoke rising from the chimney. But you're not alone now, are you? You got something of mine in there. I got a girl I found freezing in the snow. That's what I got. That girl is my property, Tom. She stole from me. I want her back. And I want what she took. She's not property, and she's not going anywhere. Will's smile faded. You know what she has. You know what it's worth. This doesn't have to be ugly. Just send her out. Send out the compass. We ride away. Nobody gets hurt. Can't do that. Can or won't. Both. He sat there for a long moment. The horse shifted beneath him. Steam rose from its nostrils. I saved your life once, Tom. Little Canyon. You remember? I remember. I carried you 3 miles with a bullet in my own leg. 3 miles through Apache territory. Could have left you. Should have left you. But I didn't, because we were brothers. That was a different man. That Will McKenna died somewhere. I don't know this thing you became. His jaw tightened. This thing I became is what the world made me. You think I wanted this? You think I wanted to lose my family? My badge? Everything I worked for? You lost those things because you were corrupt, Will. Because you chose money over honor. Honor, he spat the word. Honor doesn't feed your children. Honor doesn't keep a roof over your head. You want to talk about honor? You who ran away from the world after Catherine died? You who hid in these woods while life went on without you? The words stung because they were true, but truth doesn't change what's right. I'm not giving you the girl, I said. Last time I'm saying it. Will leaned forward in his saddle. You're one old man, Tom. I got 10 men with me. Good men. Hard men. You really want to die for some Apache girl you found in the snow? If that's what it takes. Then you're a fool. He straightened, gathered his reins. I'll give you till noon to reconsider. After that, we come for her, and we won't be gentle about it. He turned his horse and rode back toward the ridge. I watched him go, watched until he disappeared into the tree line. Then I went back inside. Sam and Najoni were waiting. They had heard everything through the walls. He's giving us till noon, I said. That's 2 hours. Will he really attack? Sam asked. His voice was steady, but I could hear the fear underneath. Yes. Najoni stood by the table. The compass sat in front of her. She picked it up, held it. I can go, she said quietly. I can take this and leave. Lead them away from here. No, Dina, but he is right. You will die for me. A stranger. I looked at her, really looked at her. This young woman who had survived hell and was still standing, still fighting. You're not a stranger anymore, I said. You're under my roof. That means something. That means everything. She held my eyes for a long moment, then nodded, put the compass back down. Then we fight. The 2 hours passed like 2 minutes. We prepared as best we could. Sam positioned himself upstairs by the window with the Winchester. 15 rounds in a clear line of sight to anyone approaching from the north. Najoni stayed on this ground floor with me. She had the pistol, 6 rounds. I had my Colt, 6 rounds in it, and 6 more in the second pistol tucked in my belt. We had knives. We had water. We had bandages. We had determination. Against 10 men, it would not be enough, but it would have to be. Noon came with the sound of horses, many horses. I counted 8 riders coming down from the ridge in a line. Will was in the center, the others spread out on either side. They stopped 100 yards out, just out of good rifle range. Waiting. Will dismounted. So did 3 others. 4 men on foot, 4 men staying mounted. The ones on foot started walking toward the cabin, slow. Weapons drawn but not aimed. Not yet. Tom Brennan, Will's voice carried across the snow. Last chance. Send out the girl. I stepped onto the porch again, this time with my Colt in my hand. I told you my answer, Will. It hasn't changed. Then we're doing this the hard way. The 4 men on foot spread out, started to circle, trying to find angles, trying to get shots from different directions. Sam, I called back into the cabin. You see the one on the left? Tall man with the brown coat? I see him. When I say you put a round near his feet, don't hit him, just scare him. Why not hit him? Because once we start killing, we can't stop. Make them think twice first. I waited until the tall man got within 70 yards. Then, now, Sam, the Winchester cracked. The shot kicked up snow 3 feet in front of the tall man. He jumped back. The 4 men froze. Next one won't miss, I shouted. You boys want to die for Will's gold? That what you signed up for? 2 of the men looked at each other, uncertainty in their eyes. Will saw it too. They're bluffing, Will shouted. It's an old man and a boy. We got them outnumbered. Go! But the men didn't move, not right away. Fear is a powerful thing. Even hardened men think twice when bullets start flying. Will cursed, raised his own pistol, and fired at the cabin. The bullet hit the door frame 2 feet from my head. Wood splintered. That broke the dam. The 4 men rushed forward, all of them firing. Bullets slammed into the cabin walls, into the shutters. One shattered the glass in the window upstairs. I returned fire. 2 shots at the nearest man. One hit his shoulder. He spun and went down. Sam fired the Winchester. Missed the first shot, but the second caught another man in the leg. He fell screaming. The other 2 reached the cabin. One tried the door. I shot through it. The bullet went through the wood and into something soft. The man made a wet sound and fell away. The 4th man smashed a shutter with his rifle butt, tried to climb through. Najoni was there. She fired the pistol point blank. The man's face disappeared in a red mist. He fell backwards out of the window. Then silence. 4 men down. 4 men still mounted up the ridge, watching. Will stood among the bodies. Blood on the snow. He looked at the cabin, looked at me standing in the doorway. Something changed in his eyes. Not fear, respect. The kind of respect one warrior gives another. You always were stubborn, Tom, he called out. Stubborn and too damn noble for your own good. Go home, Will. This isn't worth dying over. Can't do that. That compass leads to 300,000 in gold. I'm not walking away from that kind of money. You'll walk away or you'll die trying to take it. He smiled that wolf smile again. We'll see. He mounted his horse, gestured to the other riders. They turned and rode back toward the ridge. Not retreating, regrouping. This was not over. This was just the beginning. I went back inside. Sam came down the stairs. His hands were shaking. He had never shot at a man before. Never seen what bullets do to flesh. You did good, I told him. I killed someone. You defended your home. There's a difference. Najoni sat by the fireplace. The pistol was still in her hand. She was staring at nothing, seeing everything. The man at the window, she said quietly. That was the first person I ever killed. I sat down across from her. Hopefully the last, but if it's not, you don't feel guilty about it. He came here to hurt you. You had every right. She looked at me. How do you live with it, the killing? You don't. You just keep moving forward. Keep finding reasons to wake up. Keep finding things worth protecting. Outside, the bodies lay in the snow. 4 men who woke up this morning and would not see tomorrow. 4 men who made the choice to follow Will McKenna down a dark road. We could not bury them. The ground was frozen solid. Could not move them either. Too dangerous to go outside with Will and his men still out there. So we left them. Let the cold preserve them. Let them be a reminder of what this fight would cost. The afternoon was quiet, too quiet. Will was planning something. I could feel it. He would not attack the same way twice. He was too smart for that. I was right. Around 3 o'clock, I smelled smoke. Not wood smoke from our stove. Something else. Something wrong. I ran to the window, looked out. The barn was on fire, flames licking up the walls. The animals inside screaming. Sam, the horses! He ran for the door. I grabbed his arm. That's what they want. They want us outside, scattered. But the animals are already dead or will be. We go out there, we die too. It was a hard choice, listening to those animals scream, knowing we could not save them. But Will was counting on our mercy, counting on us caring enough to run into his trap. We stayed inside. The barn burned for 2 hours. When it collapsed, the screaming stopped. The silence after was worse than the noise. I'm sorry, Sam, I said. I know those horses were... Don't. His voice was hard. Cold. Just don't. He went upstairs. I heard the door close. The boy was learning that sometimes survival means watching things die. It was a cruel lesson. But this was a cruel world. Night fell fast. We sat in darkness, afraid to light lamps, afraid to give Will's men targets. Najoni prepared food by feel, corn mush and dried meat. We ate without tasting. They will come tonight, she said, in the dark. That is when McKenna is most dangerous. How do you know? Because I watched him for 6 weeks. I know how he thinks. He waits until his enemies are tired, afraid. Then he strikes. Then we don't sleep. We take shifts, 2 hours on, 2 hours off. Sam took the first watch. Najoni and I tried to rest, but rest would not come. Every sound was a threat. Every creak of the cabin was an enemy approaching. The wind howled, the cold pressed in, and somewhere out there, Will McKenna was planning our deaths. Around midnight, Sam woke me. Movement, he whispered. Northwest corner. I went to the window, looked out. Saw nothing at first. Then shadows moving against shadows. 3 men, maybe 4, coming low and slow through the snow. Wake Najoni, get ready. They came at us from 3 sides, north, west, south, trying to split our attention, trying to overwhelm us. The first man reached the north wall, started prying at the shutters with a crowbar. Sam fired through the gap. The man fell back cursing. The west wall, someone trying to set fire to it. I shot through the logs, heard a scream. The fire went out. South wall breaking through. I turned, saw the shutter splinter inward. A man's arm reaching through. Najoni was there. She brought the knife down hard. The arm jerked back. Blood sprayed, gunfire, shouting, smoke, chaos, and then pain. Something hit me from behind. I turned and saw the south shutter completely broken open. A man climbing through. He had a pistol, fired. The bullet took me in the left shoulder, spun me around. I went down hard. Sam screamed, fired the Winchester. The man in the window jerked and fell, but I was on the floor, blood spreading across my shirt. Hot, wet, too much blood. Najoni was beside me, pressing cloth against the wound. Stay with me, she said. Stay awake. I tried, but the darkness was pulling at me, the cold, the pain. The last thing I heard before I passed out was Will's voice outside, shouting, calling his men back. The attack was over. For now. I woke to daylight, pain in my shoulder like a hot poker pressed into flesh. Najoni was there. She had bandaged me, stopped the bleeding, but I could see in her eyes how bad it was. The bullet? I asked. Still in there. I cannot get it out. Sam? He is fine, scared, but fine. I tried to sit up. The world spun, fell back. How long? Since you were shot? 12 hours. It is morning now. They have not attacked again. They will. I heard footsteps on the stairs. Sam came down. His face was pale, exhausted, but he held himself together. How are you feeling? He asked. Like I got shot. How's the cabin? South shutter is destroyed. I boarded it up with planks, but it won't hold another attack. I nodded. Every movement hurt. We can't stay here. Will knows that. He'll wait us out now. Wait until infection sets in. Wait until we're too weak to fight. So what do we do? Sam asked. We hope for a miracle. The miracle came 2 hours later. I heard horses, different horses, coming from the east. Not Will's men, someone else. Sam looked out the window. It's an old man, alone, on a paint horse. I struggled to sit up, looked out, saw him. He was Apache, maybe 60 years old, long gray hair, face carved by time and weather. He wore traditional clothing, beaded vest, leather leggings, and he carried a rifle across his saddle. He stopped 50 yards from the cabin, raised one hand, peace. I am Dakota, he called out. His English was accented but clear. I'm looking for this girl called Najoni. Najoni gasped, ran to the door before I could stop her, threw it open. Dakota! The old man dismounted, walked toward the cabin. His eyes swept the scene. The burned barn, the bodies in the snow, the bullet holes in the walls. You have made enemies, he said. Wasn't exactly the plan, I replied. He came inside, looked at me, at my shoulder, at the blood-soaked bandage. You are hurt. I'm alive, that'll do. He turned to Najoni, spoke to her in Apache, fast words I could not understand. She answered, back and forth, a conversation that excluded Sam and me. Finally, Dakota switched back to English. I have been searching for her since her village was destroyed. I am the only one left from her band. I came to take her to safety, to her people in Arizona. She's safe here, I said. This? He gestured at the destroyed cabin. At my wound. This is not safe. Safer than out there with Will McKenna hunting her. Dakota's eyes narrowed. McKenna, the one with the scar? You know him? I know of him. He is a devil. He kills without honor. He used to be different. Used to be a good man. Perhaps, but the man he was is dead. Only the devil remains. I tried to stand, made it halfway before the pain knocked me back down. Dakota caught me, helped me to a chair. You cannot fight, he said. Not like this. Don't have much choice. There is always a choice. I will take the girl, lead McKenna away from here. You and the boy will be safe. Najoni stepped forward. No, I will not run anymore. I will not bring death to another place. This ends here. Dakota looked at her, something like pride in his eyes. You have become strong, little one. Your mother would be proud. Will you help us? She asked. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. I will help, but you must understand. McKenna has many men. We are few. The odds are not good. The odds haven't been good since this started, I said. Hasn't stopped us yet. Dakota smiled. It was a warrior's smile, the kind that says death is coming and I am ready for it. Then we prepare. Tonight they will come with everything they have. They know you are wounded. They know you are weak. They will not wait longer. He was right. We all knew it. Sam spoke up. What's the plan? Dakota walked to the window, studied the terrain, the approaches, the sight lines. We cannot defend this place. Too many ways in. Too few of us. We must take the fight to them. I can't fight, I said, can barely stand. Then you will be the bait. They want you alive to get information about the compass. We use that. Draw them in. The boy and I will be the trap. And me? Najoni asked. You stay with him. Guard him. Kill anyone who gets close. It was a desperate plan, built on hope and foolishness. But it was the only plan we had. We spent the afternoon preparing. Dakota knew the land better than I did despite never being here before. He could read terrain like some men read books. He positioned Sam in the tree line to the north, hidden behind a fallen log with the Winchester and 30 rounds. He took position himself to the west, in a small ravine that gave him cover and a clear field of fire. Najoni and I stayed in the cabin. I sat in a chair by the window. She stood behind me with the pistol. 2 rounds left. She had used 4 during the night attack. If this goes wrong, I said to her, you take one of the horses Dakota brought and you ride. Don't stop. Don't look back. Get to Arizona. Find your people. I will not leave you. You might have to. She put her hand on my good shoulder. You pulled me from the snow. You gave me life. I do not abandon those who give me life. The sun was setting when they came. All 6 of them. Will in the lead. The men who had survived the previous fights. They rode slow, confident. They knew we were weak, knew we were broken. They stopped 100 yards out. Will dismounted, walked forward alone, unarmed, hands visible. Tom, he called, I know you're hurt. I know you can't hold out much longer. This is your last chance. Give me the compass and I'll let you live. You and the boy, you have my word. I stood, used the window frame for support. Called back, your word doesn't mean much anymore, Will. Then what does it take? What do you want? I want you to ride away. Leave the girl alone. Forget about the gold. Go find whatever's left of the good man you used to be. He laughed, bitter, harsh. That man is gone, Tom. Been gone for years. There's just this now, just survival. Just gold and power and making sure I never have to beg again. Then I'm sorry for you. Don't be sorry for me. Be sorry for yourself because I'm coming in there. And when I do, I'm taking that compass and the girl and anything else I want. You can die fighting or die begging. Your choice." He turned and walked back to his men. They remounted, spread out, getting ready for the final push. "Here they come," I said to Najoni. She checked the pistol. 2 rounds. "I am ready." The 6 riders charged, split into 2 groups, 3 toward the north, 3 toward the west, trying to overwhelm our positions. The north group hit Sam's position first. The Winchester cracked. Once, twice, 3 times. 2 riders went down, the third veered away. The west group ran straight into Dakota. He rose from the ravine like a ghost, fired his rifle. One man fell, fired again. Another man grabbed his arm and screamed. That left 2 men still mounted, both heading straight for the cabin. Will McKenna and one other, coming fast. I raised my pistol. My left arm was useless. Had to brace the gun against the window frame. Aimed as best I could. Fired. Missed. Will fired back. His bullet shattered what was left of the window glass. Sprayed me with fragments. I fell back. Najoni stepped into my place. Aimed. Fired. Her bullet took Will's horse in the chest. The animal went down hard. Will rolled clear, but the fall stunned him. The second rider reached the cabin, crashed through the broken south shutter, came in firing. The bullet hit the wall beside my head. Najoni turned, fired her last round. The rider jerked, fell from his horse into the cabin, dead before he hit the floor. Then the cabin door exploded inward. Will McKenna, covered in snow and blood and fury, he had a knife in his hand, came straight for me. I tried to stand, couldn't. The wound had taken too much. Najoni stepped between us. She had the knife from the table, 6 inches of steel. She held it steady despite the fear in her eyes. "Get out of the way, girl," Will said. "This is between me and Tom." "No," she said. "Everything you have done to me. This is between us." Will laughed. "You think you can stop me? You're nothing, just property, just a thing to be used and thrown away. I am Najoni, daughter of Aita, survivor of your cruelty, and I am done being afraid of you." He lunged, fast for a man his age, but she was faster, sidestepped his knife, brought hers up and across, opened a cut on his arm. He cursed, came at her again. They circled in the small cabin, knife against knife. I watched, helpless, too weak to intervene, too hurt to help. Will was bigger, stronger, more experienced. But Najoni had something he didn't, something that mattered more than giant or strength. She had survived him, and survivors are the most dangerous fighters there are. His next lunge was too aggressive, left him open. She saw it, drove her knife up under his ribs. Not deep, not fatal, but enough. Will staggered back, looked down at the blood spreading across his shirt, looked up at Najoni with something like disbelief. "You stabbed me," he said, like he couldn't quite believe it. "You took everything from me," she said. "Did you think there would be no price?" He fell to his knees. The knife clattered from his hand. Sam appeared in the doorway. The Winchester pointed at Will's head. "Don't," I said to Sam. "Don't make it worse." Dakota came in behind Sam. He looked at Will kneeling on the floor, at the blood, at Najoni standing over him with the knife. "This is the man?" Dakota asked her. She nodded. Dakota crouched down, looked Will in the eyes. "You destroyed her village, killed her family, took her freedom, and now she has taken your power. This is justice." Will coughed, blood on his lips. "Justice, there is no justice. Just winners and losers." "Then you have lost," Dakota said simply. "We bound Will's wound, not out of mercy, out of necessity. He would face trial, face the law." Dakota and Sam rode to town the next morning, brought back the sheriff and his deputies, brought back Doc Anderson to dig the bullet out of my shoulder. They took Will away, took the bodies of his men. The compass was given to the federal marshal. Evidence of the train robbery. The gold it marked would be recovered, returned to its rightful owners. The trial was quick. Will McKenna was sentenced to 20 years in the territorial prison. I did not go to watch, did not need to see him broken. I had seen enough. But Sam went. He insisted on it, said someone from our family should be there to see justice done. He came back 3 days later, quiet and thoughtful in a way I had not seen before. He cried, Sam said that evening as we sat on the porch. When they read the sentence, McKenna cried like a child. I did not know what to say to that. He asked about you, Sam continued, asked if you were healing, asked if I would tell you something. What? Sam pulled a folded paper from his pocket. He wrote you a letter. The marshal let him, said I could decide whether to give it to you or burn it. I took the letter, held it for a long moment without opening it. The paper was cheap, prison issue, my name written in shaky handwriting across the front. Thomas Brennan, private. You going to read it? Sam asked. I don't know. I carried that letter for 2 weeks, kept it in my coat pocket, felt it there every time I reached for something. A constant wait, a question waiting to be answered. Finally, one afternoon when Najoni was in town with Dakota buying supplies, I sat alone in the cabin and opened it. The handwriting was Will's but degraded, like his hands shook when he wrote, Tom, I do not expect forgiveness. Do not deserve it. But I wanted you to know that in that final moment, when you said you were sorry for not helping me, something broke open inside me. Something I thought was long dead. You could have killed me. Should have. I came to your home with murder in my heart, but you chose mercy, even after everything. The judge asked me if I had anything to say before sentencing. I told him the truth, that I had become a monster, that I had hurt innocent people, that the man I used to be would have been ashamed of what I became. I told him about you, about how you pulled a freezing girl from the snow and protected her when you could have turned away, about how you chose to do right even when it cost you everything. The judge asked why I was telling him this. I said because I wanted the court to know that good men still exist, that I had fought against one and lost, and that losing to you was the first decent thing I had done in 10 years. I will die in this prison, Tom, I know that, but I will die remembering that once, a long time ago, I was your friend, your brother, and that you never stopped seeing that man, even when he disappeared completely. Thank you for the mercy you showed me. I did not earn it, but I will try in whatever time I have left to become worthy of it. Your old friend Will, I read the letter 3 times, then I folded it carefully and put it in the drawer where I kept Catherine's wedding ring and the few photographs I had of her. Things worth keeping, things that mattered. 2 weeks later, I wrote back, Will, I received your letter. I want you to know that I forgive you. Not because you asked for it, but because carrying hate would poison the life I am building with Najoni and Sam. I choose to remember the man who saved my life at Little Canyon. That is the Will McKenna I will carry with me. You were right about one thing. Good men still exist, but so do men who make terrible mistakes and find their way back. I hope you become one of those men. Use your time well. Make amends where you can. Die better than you lived these last years. You will always be my brother, even when we were enemies. Tom, I sent the letter through the marshal. Never got a reply. But 6 months later, Marshal Crawford visited the ranch with news. McKenna is dead, he said, pneumonia. Prison doctor said he went quick. But before he died, he asked the chaplain to make sure you knew something. What? He said to tell you that he died at peace, that your letter gave him that, and that he hoped you would name your first child after your wife Catherine, not after him. Said she deserved to be remembered. He did not. I thanked the marshal. After he left, I sat on the porch and watched the sun set over land that had seen so much blood and pain and redemption. Will McKenna was gone, the man who had been my friend, my enemy, and finally something like my friend again. I hoped he found whatever peace waited on the other side. Hoped Catherine was there to welcome him with the mercy he had not shown himself. My shoulder healed slow. 3 months before I could use my left arm properly. But I had help. Najoni stayed, so did Dakota. The old warrior had nowhere else to go, and we needed the help rebuilding. We built a new barn, bought new horses. Sam learned from Dakota, learned tracking and hunting and all the skills his grandfather never lived to teach him. The boy was becoming a man, a good man. And somewhere in all that work and healing, something else happened. Najoni and I started talking more, started sitting together after dinner, started sharing our stories, our pains, our hopes. She told me about her mother teaching her about herbs, about her sister who loved to sing, about the village that was destroyed and the life she lost. I told her about Catherine, about the love we shared and the grief that followed, about the years of isolation, about the man I had been and the man I was becoming. Spring came, the snow melted, wildflowers pushed through the thawing ground. And on a morning when the sun felt warm for the first time in months, I asked her to marry me. Not with grand words, not with promises of an easy life, just a simple question. Will you stay? Not as a guest, as my wife, as family. She looked at me with those dark eyes that had seen too much pain, and she smiled. Yes. We married a week later. Dakota performed the ceremony, a blend of Apache tradition and Christian prayer. Sam stood beside me, serious, proud. When I kissed my new wife, when I held her close, I thought about the winter that had brought her to me, about the choice I made to pull her from the snow instead of walking away, about how one decision can change everything. I was 57 years old. I had thought my life was over, thought the best parts were behind me. But I was wrong. The best parts were just beginning. The fourth morning after the night battle came gray and heavy with the promise of more snow. I woke to pain that had settled deep into my bones. The bullet wound in my left shoulder throbbed with a rhythm that matched my heartbeat. Each pulse sent fire through my arm and down my spine. Doc Anderson had dug the lead out 2 days ago, working by lamplight, while I bit down on a leather strap and tried not to scream. The bullet had gone deep, chipped bone, torn muscle, left damage that might never fully heal. I was 57 years old, and for the first time in my life, I felt every one of those years pressing down on me like a physical weight. Najoni sat in the chair by the window. She had been there all night, taking watch while I slept in fits and starts. The pistol lay in her lap. 2 rounds left, all we had managed to salvage from the chaos of the fight. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep, but her back was straight, alert, ready. Anything? I asked. My voice came out rough, throat dry from the laudanum Doc Anderson had left me. She shook her head slowly. Nothing, no movement, no fires on the ridge. They are gone. Or hiding better. Yes, or that. I tried to sit up. The world tilted sideways. Pain exploded across my chest. I fell back against the pillow, gasping. Najoni was beside me in an instant, her hand on my good shoulder, steadying me. You must not move so fast. The wound needs time. Don't have time. McKenna is still out there. McKenna can wait. You are no good to anyone dead. She helped me drink water, brought me the brown bottle of laudanum. I hated the stuff, hated how it made everything soft and distant, but the pain was too much. I drank the measured dose and waited for the warmth to spread through my chest, for the edges to blur. Sam came down the stairs. He moved quiet, careful, like he was afraid to wake something sleeping. The boy had changed over these past days. The fight had stripped away whatever remained of his childhood, left something harder behind, something that looked like a man but still carried a boy's uncertainty in his eyes. He poured coffee without speaking. We had all learned that silence in the morning meant nightmares through the night, meant things seen that could not be unseen. The dead man at the window, the blood on the snow, the screaming of horses as the barn burned. I'm going to check the perimeter, Sam said finally. His voice was steady, but I heard the tremor underneath. Make sure they have not circled back during the night. Take the Winchester, I said. Don't go more than 100 yards. You see anything strange, you get back here. No heroes. He nodded, grabbed the rifle from where it leaned against the wall, checked the magazine out of habit. 15 rounds. We had reloaded after the fight, made sure every weapon we had was ready, just in case. The door closed behind him with a sound that seemed too final, too much like goodbye. Najoni came back to sit beside me on the bed. She took my good hand in both of hers. Her fingers were warm despite the cold cabin air. Tell me about your village, I said. Needed something to think about besides the waiting, besides the certainty that McKenna was planning something worse than a direct assault. Before the attack, what was it like when you were young? She was quiet for a long moment, staring at our joined hands. Then she began to speak, her voice soft, almost dreaming. We lived near a river, wide and slow, good for fishing. The women would gather there in the mornings. She'd wash clothes, collect water, talk about small things. Who was marrying who? Which children were causing trouble? Normal things. What about your mother? She knew every plant that grew, every root and leaf and flower. Could tell you what would heal and what would kill. The other women came to her when they were sick, when their children had fever. She always helped, never asked for payment. Sounds like she was respected. She was, and she was kind, even to the white settlers who came through sometimes. She said hate was a poison, that it hurt the person carrying it more than the person it was aimed at. I thought about that, about hate, about what it had done to Will McKenna, how it had eaten him from the inside until there was nothing left but rage and desperation. Your mother was wise, I said. Yes, she was. Najoni's voice caught. My sister loved to weave. She was only 12, but her baskets were already better than mine. She would sit for hours working the reeds, singing while she worked. She had a beautiful voice. I am sorry you lost them. I am sorry you lost Catherine. We sat in silence after that, two people who had survived when others had not, carrying the weight of that survival. Learning that living on was its own kind of burden, the laudanum was taking hold now, making the pain distant, making everything feel like I was underwater. I fought against it, needed to stay sharp, stay ready. Around mid-morning, Sam returned. His face was pale, drawn. He carried something wrapped in an old cloth, set it on the table with hands that shook slightly. Found this, he said, nailed to the fence post on the north boundary. He unwrapped it slowly, a piece of paper, edges charred like someone had held it near a flame, message written in charcoal. The handwriting was shaky but readable. Tom, tonight, just you and me, at the burn barn, midnight. Come alone or I burn the cabin with everyone inside. I know you are hurt, I know you are weak, but you still have enough strength to face me one last time. Or you can hide behind that girl and watch everything burn. Your choice, Will. I read it twice, 3 times, each word settling heavy in my gut. It is a trap, Najoni said. Her voice was flat, certain. Of course it is a trap. You cannot go. Don't have much choice. Sam slammed his fist on the table hard enough to make the coffee cups jump. You are not going out there alone. That is suicide. You can barely stand up. And if I do not go, he burns us out. Kills all of us. That what you want? Then we all go. We fight together. No, girl. I pushed myself up despite the pain screaming through my shoulder. Made myself stand, even though the room spun. This ends tonight, one way or another. Will wants me. Fine. He can have me. But you two stay here. Stay alive. I will not let you sacrifice yourself for us, Najoni said. She stood too, faced me, eyes hard with determination. You pulled me from the snow, gave me life when I had none. I do not abandon people who give me life. This is not about abandonment. It is about making sure someone survives, making sure this place survives. Before we could argue further, we heard horses, multiple riders coming fast from the south. We grabbed weapons, moved to defensive positions. Sam at the window upstairs with the Winchester. Najoni and me on the ground floor. Ready for another fight, but these were not McKenna's men. Marshal Crawford rode at the head of a column of 6 riders, federal deputies, all armed, all looking grim. They pulled up in front of the cabin and Crawford dismounted. He was a hard man in his early 60s, gray beard shot through with white, eyes that had seen too much but never looked away. Mr. Brennan, he said, tipped his hat to Najoni. Ma'am. Marshal, did not expect to see you back so soon. Got word from young Sam here. He gestured at my nephew who had appeared in the doorway. Rode to town yesterday, told me about the attack, about McKenna still being out there. Figured you might need some help. Appreciate it. We went inside. I showed Crawford the note. He read it slowly, cursed under his breath. This is bait, he said. Clear as day. He wants you angry, wants you making mistakes. I know what it is. Then you know you cannot go. And if I do not, he burns us out. You willing to take that risk? Crawford looked around the cabin, at the bullet holes in the walls, at the boarded-up window, at my bandaged shoulder and the way I leaned against the table for support. What I am willing to risk is getting more of my deputies killed chasing a mad dog through these woods. He set the note down. But I am also not willing to let you walk into a trap alone. So what do you suggest? Modified plan. You go meet him like he wants, but my men position around the area, hidden. When McKenna makes his move, we take him. He will see them. Will is not stupid. He survived this long by being careful. Then we make sure he does not see them. My men are good at what they do. Not good enough if McKenna spots them. Then he disappears again. Comes back when we are not ready, when you and your men are gone. We were still arguing when we heard the voice outside. Tom Brennan, I know you are in there. I moved to the window, looked out. A single rider sat his horse 50 yards from the cabin, not McKenna. One of his men, young, maybe 25, holding a white cloth on a stick. I got a message from Mr. McKenna, the rider called. He says he is willing to talk. Says maybe we can work this out peaceful. Crawford put his hand on my arm. Don't trust it. I don't, but I want to hear what he has to say. I stepped out onto the porch. The cold hit me like a fist. Made my shoulder throb worse. I kept my right hand near the Colt on my hip. I am listening, I called back. Mr. McKenna says he does not want more killing. Says he just wants what is his. The compass. The map. You give him that, he rides away. Nobody else has to die. The compass is federal evidence. I do not have it. Mr. McKenna does not believe that. Then Mr. McKenna is wrong. The rider shifted in his saddle, nervous. He says if you do not give him what he wants, he will kill everyone on this ranch. Says he has enough men to do it. Says you cannot stop him. Tell McKenna if he wants the compass, he can ask the federal marshal. Crawford is here right now with 6 deputies. Tell him that. The color drained from the rider's face. He had not known about the lawmen. McKenna had sent him in blind. I will tell him, the rider stammered, turned his horse and rode hard back toward the tree line. Crawford stepped a week beside me. That bought us some time. McKenna did not know we were here. He will have to reconsider his approach. Or he will panic, do something desperate. Either way, we use the time to prepare. Get my men in position. When he comes tonight, we will be ready. The afternoon was spent planning. Crawford's deputies were experienced men, had fought outlaws before. They knew how to position themselves, how to stay hidden, how to wait. But they were white men, city men mostly. They moved through the forest like cattle, breaking branches, crunching snow, making noise. That is when Dakota returned. The old Apache warrior appeared like a ghost from the tree line. One moment the forest was empty. The next he stood there, and he was not alone. 3 more Apache warriors rode behind him. Men from Najoni's original band, survivors who had scattered after the attack 18 months ago. Dakota had sent word to them, called them here. Najoni ran out when she saw them, embraced the lead rider, an older man with scars across his chest and arms. They spoke rapidly in Apache, words tumbling over each other, tears running down Najoni's face. When they finally separated, she brought the man to me. This is Kuruk, she said, her voice thick with emotion. My father's brother, my uncle. I thought he was dead. Kuruk studied me with dark eyes that missed nothing, took in my bandaged shoulder, the way I favored my right side, the exhaustion written in every line of my face. Dakota tells me you protected my brother's daughter, he said in careful English. Gave her shelter when she had none. Fought men who would harm her. For this, we are in your debt. She is my wife now, I said. No debt between family. A slow smile spread across his weathered face. Even better. Then we fight not for debt. We fight for family. Marshal Crawford was less pleased about the Apache warriors. He pulled me aside. You know I cannot officially sanction this, he said quietly. Apache fighters helping federal lawmen? The governor would have my badge. Then unofficially sanction it, or better yet, do not know about it. Your men position where you planned. Dakota and his warriors will position where they know best. McKenna will not see them coming. And if something goes wrong, if shooting starts and my men fire on the Apache by mistake, then we all pray it does not come to that. The sun set red and angry over the mountains. Blood on snow. Old-timers would have called it an omen. Maybe they would have been right. We gathered in the cabin for a final planning session. Crawford's 6 deputies, Dakota's 3 warriors, Sam, Najoni, me. 11 people preparing to face however many men McKenna had left. Dakota spread out a rough map drawn on paper, showed the approaches to the burned barn, the sight lines, the places men could hide. The white lawmen position here, he said, pointed to the tree line north and east of the barn. Good cover, good shooting angles, but McKenna will expect this. We'll watch for men in obvious positions. So where do you position? Crawford asked. Where he does not look, in the ash pit of the barn itself, in the snowdrifts, in places no white man would think to hide because they are too uncomfortable. Too cold to say. One of the deputies snorted. You plan to lie in ashes and snow for hours waiting? Dakota looked at him with eyes older than stone. I have waited in worse places for better reasons. This is family. I would wait in hell itself. The deputy had nothing to say to that. What about me? I asked. Where do I position? You will be the bait, Dakota said simply. You walk to the center of the burned barn at midnight like McKenna demands. You stand there, visible, waiting. And when he shoots me, he will not shoot immediately. He will talk first. McKenna is a man who needs to explain himself, to justify. We use that. While he talks, we move closer. When the time is right, we take him. And if it goes wrong, if he shoots before you are in position? Dakota shrugged. Then you die, and we kill him after. Either way, this ends tonight. Najoni made a sound, halfway between a gasp and a sob. I reached for her hand. I will be fine, I said. You cannot know that. No, but I can believe it. Sometimes that is enough. As the night deepened, as the temperature dropped and the stars came out cold and sharp, I sat with Najoni in our bedroom. We did not speak much, just held each other. Memorized the feeling of being close, just in case. If something happens to me, I said finally, if this goes bad, do not say it. I need to. If I die tonight, you take Sam and you go to your uncle. You go to Arizona with the others. You build a life there. I will not leave this place. This is our home. Home is just land. You are what matters. You and Sam. You're the future. She pulled back, looked at me with eyes that had seen too much death already. Then you make sure you have a future too. You make sure you come back to me. I will do my best. Your best is not good enough. I need you to promise. I wanted to promise her everything would be fine, that I would walk away from this without another scratch, that we would grow old together on this land and watch our family prosper. But I had learned not to make promises I might not keep. I promise I will fight, I said instead. I promise I will not give up. That is all I can give you. She kissed me then, long and deep and desperate, like she was trying to memorize the taste of me, the feel of me, everything that made me real. When we finally separated, she whispered against my lips, "Come back to me, Thomas Brennan, or I will follow you into whatever comes next and drag you back myself." I smiled despite everything. "Yes, ma'am." At 11:30, I walked out of the cabin alone. The night was clear, moon 3/4 full and bright enough to cast shadows. Cold that bit through my coat and made my breath steam. My shoulder ached with each step. The laudanum had worn off hours ago. I had refused more, needed to be sharp, clear. One mistake and this ended badly. The ruins of the barn stood like broken teeth against the star-filled sky, black timbers jutting up from ash and snow. Everything we had built, everything we had saved, gone in one night of fire and hate. I walked into the center of the destruction, stood where the main beam had fallen, waited. The deputies were positioned in the tree line to the north. I could not see them, but knew they were there. Dakota and his warriors had disappeared an hour ago, vanished into the landscape like smoke. I did not know where they were. That was the point. The minutes crawled past, each one feeling like an hour. I focused on breathing, on staying calm, on not thinking about all the ways this could go wrong. At 5 minutes to midnight, I heard footsteps, crunching snow, coming from the south. Will McKenna walked out of the darkness alone, but I knew he was not really alone. His men would be out there, hidden, waiting just like mine. He looked worse than before. Prison had carved him down to nothing but bone and rage. His clothes hung loose. His face was gaunt. The scar on his cheek stood out livid white against skin gray as ash. But the pistol in his hand was steady, and his eyes burned with something terrible. "Hello, Tom," he said. His voice was rough, like he had been screaming, or crying, or both. "Will, you came, good. Shows you still have some honor left. What do you want, Will, really want?" He laughed. The sound was broken glass, sharp edges cutting the night air. "What do I want? I want my life back, my family, my reputation, everything I lost. I cannot give you that." "No, but you can give me the compass, the map, the gold. That is a start." "The compass is federal evidence. The marshal has it. I do not." "You are lying." "I am not. Crawford took it weeks ago. It is locked up in the federal trailing in Cheyenne. You want it, you will have to break into a federal building." Will's face twisted. "Then you have given me nothing. Taken everything and given me nothing in return." "I did not take anything from you. You lost it all yourself, through your own choices." "My choices?" He stepped closer, the pistol aimed at my chest now. "You think I chose to lose everything? Chose to watch my wife walk away with my children? Chose to spend my days rotting in a cell? You chose corruption. You chose to take bribes, to look away when powerful men broke the law. You chose easy money over doing what was right. And you chose self-righteousness," he was shouting now, spittle flying. "Chose to judge everyone from your high ground. Even when Catherine died, even when your world fell apart, you still looked down on me, still thought you were better." The words hit hard because they carried truth. I had judged Will, had looked down on him when he stumbled, had abandoned him when he needed a friend most. "You are right," I said quietly. "I failed you. When Catherine died, I was so lost in my own grief I could not see yours, could not help when I should have. For that, I am truly sorry." Will stared at me. The pistol wavered, lowered slightly. Confusion flickered across his face. "Sorry," he repeated, like the word was foreign. "You think sorry changes anything?" "No, but it is the truth, and maybe truth is all we have left between us." "Truth," he spat the word. "The truth is you had everything. A good wife, a good ranch, respect. And when you lost Catherine, people felt bad for you. They understood. But when I lost everything, people laughed, said I got what I deserved, said I was corrupt, worthless, nothing. I never thought that." "Then what did you think?" I took a breath, let it out slow. "I thought you were my friend who lost his way, who made bad choices when times got hard, who needed help but pushed everyone away." "And did you try to help me?" The question hung in the cold air. The honest answer was no. I had not tried, had been too wrapped up in my own pain to see his. "No," I admitted, "I did not, and that is my shame to carry." Will was quiet for a long moment. The anger seemed to drain out of him, left something hollow behind, something broken beyond repair. "It does not matter now," he said finally. "None of it matters. I am too far gone, too much blood on my hands, and too many sins piled up. It is never too late to change, to choose a better path." "You really believe that? After everything I have done, the people I have hurt?" "I believe people can change if they want to, if they try. You saved my life once, Will, at Little Canyon. That man is still in there somewhere." He shook his head slowly. "That man died in a prison cell. There is only this now, only hate and hurt and the need to make someone pay for what I lost." He raised the pistol again, aimed it at my head. "I am sorry, Tom, truly, but this is the only way I know how to end the pain." "Then end it," I said. "Shoot me if that is what you need, but know that it will not bring you peace, will not give you back what you lost, will only add one more sin to all the others." His finger tightened on the trigger. I could see the decision forming in his eyes, could see him choosing between whatever shred of humanity remained in the darkness that had consumed him. Then everything happened at once, a voice from the darkness. "Drop the weapon, McKenna." Marshal Crawford stepping out from cover. Too soon, too early, he had panicked when he saw Will about to shoot. Will spun toward the voice. Fired. The bullet went wide. The deputies opened up. Rifle fire cracking across the night. bullets kicking up snow around Will's feet. He dove for cover behind a fallen beam. Return fire. One of the deputies cried out. Hit. More gunfire from the south. McKenna's hidden men joining the fight. Muzzle flashes lighting up the darkness like lightning. I dove behind the ash pile. Drew my Colt. My shoulder screamed in protest, but I ignored it. Then Dakota and his warriors rose from the snow itself. Ghosts materializing from nothing. They had been there the whole time, buried under ash and ice, waiting. The Apache warriors fired with precision, each shot deliberate, controlled. Two of McKenna's men went down immediately. The fight became chaos. Bullets flying in every direction, men shouting, screaming. The smell of gunpowder thickened the air. I saw Will through the smoke and confusion. He was trying to reach his horse, trying to escape. I ran after him. Each step agony, each breath fire in my lungs. Will, stop! He turned, saw me coming, raised his pistol. We fired at the same time. His bullet hit me low, right side just below the ribs. The impact lifted me off my feet, threw me backwards into the snow. My bullet hit him in the shoulder. The same shoulder Najoni had stabbed months ago. He spun, dropped his gun, fell to one knee. I tried to get up, could not. Blood spreading across my shirt. Hot, too much of it. Will crawled toward his pistol, fingers stretching, almost reaching it. Then Sam was there, the Winchester in his hands, barrel pointed at Will's head. Don't move, Sam said. His voice was steady, cold, the voice of a man, not a boy. Will froze, looked up at Sam, then at me bleeding in the snow, then at the chaos still unfolding around us. Just shoot me, Will said quietly. It is mercy at this point. No, Sam replied. You do not get mercy. You get justice. Dakota appeared, kicked Will's pistol away, bound his hands with rawhide cord. The old warrior moved with efficiency born of long practice. The gunfire was dying down. McKenna's remaining men were surrendering, throwing down weapons, raising hands. It was over. Crawford came to me, pressed cloth against my wound. Hold on, Brennan. Doc Anderson is coming. Just hold on. I tried to speak. Could not. Everything was fading, going gray at the edges. The last thing I saw before darkness took me was Najoni running across the snow, her face twisted with fear, her hands reaching for me. Then nothing. I woke to pain and daylight. The combination was disorienting. I had expected to wake up dead if I woke up at all. Doc Anderson's face swam into focus above me. Welcome back, you stubborn fool. How bad? My voice was a croak. Bad enough. Bullet went through. Missed anything vital, but you lost a lot of blood. You will live if you rest. If you do anything stupid, you will die. Clear? I nodded. Even that hurt. Najoni was there, her hand in mine, squeezing tight. You promised to fight, she said. You kept your promise. Will? Alive, in custody. Marshall took him and his men to Cheyenne. He will stand trial for everything. Good. I slept for 3 days, woke only to drink water and take medicine, drifted in and out of consciousness while my body tried to heal. When I finally stayed awake for more than an hour, I found Sam sitting by my bed. How long? I asked. 5 days since the shooting. You had us worried. Sorry about that. Don't be sorry. Be grateful. Doc says you should have died, lost too much blood. But you are too stubborn, apparently. I smiled. Stubbornness runs in the family. We talked for a while. He told me about the cleanup, about rebuilding, about Anna and how worried she had been, about the future. I want to stay, Sam said finally. Want to help you run this place. Make it ours, if you will have me. This is already yours. Always has been. He smiled. Good, because Anna and I are getting married in June. Thought we might build a cabin on the north end if that is all right. More than all right. This land needs young people, needs a future. The wound healed slow, too slow. I was not young anymore. My body did not bounce back like it used to. But I healed. Weeks turned to months. I learned to use my left arm again. Learned to work through the pain. Learned that scars were just reminders of things survived. Will McKenna stood trial in July. I did not attend. Could not face seeing him in chains. Could not watch them sentence him to 20 years in territorial prison. But I heard about it, how he pleaded guilty, how he told the court he was sorry, how he asked for no mercy because he deserved none. They sent him to the Wyoming Territorial Prison. Hard time, no chance of early release. He would be 72 when he got out, if he lived that long. Sam married Anna in June like he planned. Simple ceremony on the ranch. The morning of the wedding, I found Sam standing alone near the creek, staring at the water. He was dressed in his best clothes, hair combed back, looking like a man, even though part of me still saw the angry 16-year-old boy who resented my authority. "You nervous?" I asked. "Terrified," he admitted. "What if I'm not good enough for her? What if I fail the way my father failed my mother?" I put my hand on his shoulder. "Your father did not fail your mother. He loved her until the day he died. The accident was not failure, it was tragedy. There is a difference." "But what if Sam, listen to me. You are not your father. You are not me. You are the man you have chosen to become. And that man is good enough for Anna. Trust that." He nodded slowly. "Did you feel this way when you married Catherine?" "Yes, and again when I married Najoni. Fear does not mean you are making a mistake. Fear means you understand what you are promising, that you take it seriously." The ceremony was held in front of the rebuilt barn. 20 guests, Anna's family, a few ranch hands. Dakota stood beside me, wearing a blend of Apache traditional clothing and a borrowed suit jacket that did not quite fit. It should have looked ridiculous. Instead, it looked right. Like our whole community, a mix of old and new, traditional and changing. Reverend Morrison from town performed the ceremony. He was 70 years old, had married half the couples in the county, and knew how to make words matter. "Marriage is not the absence of struggle," he said. "It is the choice to struggle together, to build something that lasts, not because it is easy, but because both people refuse to quit." Sam and Anna spoke their vows, simple promises, to love, to honor, to stand together. When they kissed, I felt something crack open in my chest, pride, hope, the knowledge that life goes on, that new chapters begin even as old ones close. At the reception, Anna's father, the blacksmith, approached me. We had not spoken much before. He was a hard man, suspicious of outsiders. "Brennan," he said, extended his hand. I shook it. "Mr. Peterson." "I'll be honest, when Anna said she was marrying your nephew, I had concerns. Heard stories about the trouble here last winter, about the Apache girl you married, about violence. Those stories are true. I know. That is what concerns me. But then I watched how you raised Sam, how you turned that angry boy into a man worth my daughter marrying. And I decided the stories do not tell the whole truth." "What truth is that?" "That you are a man who does right even when it costs you. That is rare. I am glad my daughter is marrying into your family." He walked away before I could respond, but his words stayed with me, settled somewhere deep. Confirmation that the choices I had made mattered, that the pain had purpose. As the sun set, I danced with Najoni. Slow circles in the grass while someone played fiddle. She was starting to show now, just barely. A small curve to her belly that only I noticed. "This is good," she said. "This life we are building." "Yes, it is." "Do you think Sam will be happy?" I looked at my nephew dancing with his new wife, both of them laughing, young, full of hope. "I think he will try to be, and trying is what makes it real." 20 people, Reverend from town. The couple was so young, so full of hope and promise. I stood beside Sam as his best man, watched him take his vows, watched him kiss his bride, felt something shift inside me, the weight of the past lifting, the future opening up. That fall, Najoni told me she was pregnant. The pregnancy was hard. Najoni was sick most mornings, could not keep food down, lost weight even as the baby grew. Doc Anderson visited weekly, concerned. "She is malnourished," he said. "Her body went through too much trauma before she came to you. The baby is taking everything she has left. What can we do?" "Feed her, rest her, pray." I did all three, cooked meals she could tolerate, made sure she rested. And at night, when she slept, I sat by the bed and prayed to a God I was not sure listened. But I prayed anyway. Because I had lost Catherine once, I could not lose Najoni too. Dakota helped in ways I did not expect. He brought traditional Apache herbs, roots and leaves I had never seen, made teas that settled Najoni's stomach, sang prayers in Apache over her belly. The child will be strong, he said. I see it in my dreams. A daughter with her mother's courage and her father's stubbornness. How do you know it is a daughter? The spirits tell me, they do not lie. As winter turned to spring, Najoni's health improved. The sickness faded. She began to eat again. Regained strength. The baby grew. I could feel it move under my hand when I placed my palm on her belly at night. Small kicks, rolls, signs of life. She is restless, Najoni said, like she cannot wait to see the world. Takes after her mother. The labor started on a Tuesday morning in May. Najoni woke me before dawn, her face pale. It is time. My heart stopped. Are you sure? Yes. Get Dakota. Get Doc Anderson. Go. I ran, sent Sam on the fastest horse to town for the doctor. Found Dakota already awake as if he had known. The child comes, he said. Not a question. Yes. Good. I will prepare. He gathered items I did not understand. Sage, sweetgrass, a bowl of water from the creek, feathers from an eagle. He laid them out in Najoni's room with careful precision. This is Apache tradition, he explained. We welcome the child with prayers, with blessings, with gratitude to the spirits who protect mothers and babies. Doc Anderson arrived an hour later. He examined Najoni and nodded approval. Everything looks good, but it will be hours yet. First babies take their time. He was right. The labor lasted 14 hours. 14 hours of Najoni gripping my hands so hard I thought bones would break. 14 hours of her screaming, crying, begging it to stop. I felt helpless, useless. All I could do was hold her hand and tell her she was strong, that she could do this, that I was here. Dakota sang, low chants in Apache, the same prayers his people had sung for generations, welcoming new life, asking spirits for protection. When the baby finally came, when I heard that first cry, I broke down. Tears I had not known I was holding flooded out. Doc Anderson placed the baby in Najoni's arms. A daughter, he said, healthy, perfect. Najoni looked down at our child, exhausted, covered in sweat, more beautiful than I had ever seen her. Catherine, she whispered. Catherine Aida Brennan. I knelt beside the bed, touched my daughter's tiny hand. She gripped my finger with surprising strength. Hello, Catherine, I said. I am your father. I am 59 years old and I thought my life was over. But you just proved me wrong. Dakota blessed the baby with sage smoke, spoke prayers over her in Apache, marked her forehead with sacred water. She will be strong, he said. Will walk between two worlds. Will carry both her mother's people and her father's people forward. This is her purpose. That night, after Doc Anderson left, after Dakota returned to his cabin, I sat beside Najoni's bed, watching our daughter sleep. I was so afraid, Najoni said quietly. Afraid I would die like my mother did. Afraid I would leave you alone, like Catherine did. But you did not. You are here. She is here. We are here. Yes, we are. She reached for my hand. Thank you. For what? For pulling me from the snow, for giving me this life, for giving me her. I kissed her forehead. Thank you for letting me. We sat in silence, watching our daughter breathe, watching the miracle we had made together. Proof that even the hardest winters eventually give way to spring. My daughter Catherine grew up strong, learned to ride and shoot and work the land, learned her mother's language and her father's stubbornness, became the kind of person who could survive anything. I taught her everything I knew, everything worth passing on. And when she asked about the scars, about the wounds that still ached in winter, I told her the truth. These are the price of choosing right over easy, I said, of protecting what matters, of refusing to walk away when someone needs help. Was it worth it? She asked. I looked at her, at my wife, at the land we had built, at the family that had grown from a single choice on a winter night. Every scar, every drop of blood, worth it. Now I am 73 years old. My hair is white. My hands shake. The old wounds ache when storms come. But I am alive, surrounded by family, watching grandchildren play in the yard, where I almost died defending what mattered. Sometimes I think about Will McKenna, about my friend who lost his way, who let bitterness poison everything good. I wonder if he found peace in that cell, if he made peace with his choices. I hope he did. Hope he found whatever he was looking for in the darkness. As for me, I found everything I needed. Found it in the snow on a winter night, in a girl freezing to death who I could have walked past but chose not to. That choice changed everything, led to every good thing in my life, and I would make it again, every time, without hesitation. Because some choices define who we are, define what we stand for. And I chose to stand for something. I chose life over death, hope over despair, love over hate. I chose to be the man Catherine believed I was, the man Najoni needed me to be, the man Sam could learn from. And that made all the difference. I am writing this now in the winter of 1895, 13 years since I found Najoni in the snow. Catherine is 11 years old now, tall for her age, smart, stubborn as hell. She speaks English and Apache fluently, rides better than most grown men, shoots straight, works hard. She is everything I hoped she would be and more. Sam and Anna have 4 children now, 2 boys, 2 girls. They run the north end of the ranch. Do it well. Sam has become the kind of man his father would have been proud of, the kind of man I am proud to call nephew. Dakota is still with us, 74 years old now, slower, grayer, but still teaching the children, still singing the old songs, still making sure they know where they come from. This morning I found Catherine in the barn. She was sitting on a hay bale reading a book, some adventure story about pirates and treasure. "Should not you be helping your mother?" I asked. She looked up. "Already did. Breakfast is done. Dishes are washed. Chickens are fed. I have an hour before lessons with Dakota. And you chose to spend it reading about pirates? Better than listening to you complain about my chores." She smiled when she said it, the same smile Najoni had when she was being stubborn. I sat down beside her. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure. Do you ever feel like you do not belong? Like you are caught between 2 worlds?" She thought about it. "Sometimes when we go to town, people stare at me, at Mother, like we are strange. But then I come home and I am just Catherine, not Apache Catherine or White Catherine, just me. That is all you need to be." I know, Dakota says the same thing. He says I am a bridge, that my children will be a bridge, that eventually there will be so many bridges that the 2 sides will not be sides anymore, just people. Dakota is wise. He is also old and smells like sage. I laughed, could not help it. She closed her book. "Papa, can I ask you something?" "Of course. Wish the tracks in the snow, the ones you always talk about, the ones that brought Mother to you. Do you ever wish you had not followed them? That your life had been easier?" I looked at my daughter, at this miracle who should not exist, at the proof that following those tracks was the best decision I ever made. "Never," I said, "not once, not even for a second." "Good, because if you had not followed them, I would not be here to annoy you about chores." True, though that might have been peaceful. She punched my arm, gentle, playful. "You love it when I annoy you. I love everything about you." We sat together in comfortable silence, father and daughter, 2 people who existed because 57-year-old man chose mercy over convenience, chose to help instead of walking away. Outside, snow began to fall, the first of the season, light flakes drifting down like memories. I thought about Will McKenna, dead now these 11 years. I hoped he had found peace. Hoped he knew that his final act was giving me permission to forgive myself for not helping him sooner. I thought about Catherine, my first wife, wondered if she could see what I had built, if she approved. I like to think she did. Most of all, I thought about Najoni, about the girl freezing in the snow who became my wife, my partner, the mother of my child. The reason my life had meaning again. Some men live their whole lives waiting for purpose. I found mine in tracks I almost walked past, and I would follow them again. Every single time. Because that is what love is, following the tracks that lead you home. The winter wind rattles the windows tonight. Snow is falling, the first big storm of the season. But inside I am warm, safe. Home. My wife sits beside me. My daughter reads to her children. My grandson asks questions about the ranch. This is what I fought for. This moment. This peace. And it was worth every scar.